Top of the morning to you. Merry Tuesday. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Come on in. Come and get a Tuesday morning snuggle with me. I am the Queen Bee. I am your host. My name is Dani Wallace. How are you guys feeling? Welcome to the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show, where we get together Monday to Friday at 8 a.m. to share stories, to share businesses, to share top tips, to share what we're getting up to. So good morning. Who is first past the post? We've got the gorgeous Diane Ivory. Good morning, my angel. Who's been dropping in with words of support throughout this whole book writing process. So I did say to you guys last night, yesterday morning, in fact, that we are on the final stretch with this book. I want to say that I've enjoyed the writing process. I have enjoyed the writing process. I've enjoyed talking about the things that I've been talking about. But it's like giving birth, you guys. Like, I feel like we've passed transition now, and we're now we're at the pushing stage to deliver the manuscript. So I'll give you a little update in just a second with regards to where we are at. Are you guys talking amongst yourself? Facebook user, if you are watching in the IATQB Hive, do us a favor and make sure, if you just look at the top, there will be a title saying give StreamYard permission for us to see who you are. Otherwise, you're like a Facebook user and you're not. You've got a proper name and you're a proper person. Sandy, good morning. It must be super tired. I'm not super tired. So I think I gave up last night at about 2. And then, and then woke up at 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've had 5 hours sleep. So it's not like I didn't end up, I couldn't. It got to a point where I was typing and it was gibberish. There was nothing that was happening that was productive or made sense, or it wasn't funny anymore. It was just funny that I just couldn't spell. My fingers didn't work. They weren't connected to my brain. So I was like, right, I'll give it up today. I've not got a huge amount of work on today. I've got this morning, I've got some one-to-ones in, and then this afternoon I've got a real clear run to get this wrapped up. So yes, I'm tired. I'm not super tired. Last week was worse. I'll probably be super tired tomorrow. When I've done, I'll be like, oh, but we go straight in today, and from today onwards to the end of the month into the run-up. Oh, I'm so excited. I love September, you guys. September the whole of September is the run-up to us opening up the doors to Be Heard So You Want to Be a Speaker. So for those of you that don't know, I am a public speaking coach. I help celebrities and business people or people all over the world speak about what it is that they do out of their mouths and on stages or online so that they can reach more people and earn more money. So at the end of this month, so I open the gates to my course twice a year. So I do it in March, April time, and I do it in September. So what will happen is I'll be inviting all of you guys to come and take part as well, is that we'll do at the end of the month a free challenge where we will do some exercises together and help share with you or help you guys share some bits and pieces about what it is that you do, and then we open the doors. So if anybody wants to jump on to Be Heard So You Want to Be a Speaker, this is the month. Those of you that are on the waiting list, this is the month. So we go at the end. So we will the challenge begins the week of the 28th of September and we open the doors on the 1st of October. Super excited. Honestly, the changes that happen as a part of this course are phenomenal, and I know loads of you that are watching this morning have been through this process. So it's really amazing to be doing that. I just do it a couple of times a year because otherwise it'd get boring. And also I want to make sure that when people are in the course that I really look after them. So it's really exciting. Super excited about September's. What are you excited about this month? Tell me in the comments. I love that you guys talk to each other. It's like morning. It's like meeting at the water cooler, isn't it? Good morning, Carrie. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning. Becky. Good morning. Good morning, Alice Ferguson in the house. Hey girl. I'm still a bit squeaky from the weekend. Good morning, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And of course, we've got Joanne Smith in the house from Creative Sass. Let us know where you are watching from in the world, whether you're watching from in the UK or globally. And also, let us know what the weather's doing. You guys, It is scorching up here in Preston, and I can't leave the house again while I get this bloody book done. So I'm praying that later on this week we get a little bit more sunshine. Also, the kids go back in the next couple of days. Oh, it's been 6 months. It's been long, and I am so ready. I mean, I love my children, but I cannot wait, you guys, for them to go back to school. I cannot wait honestly, I cannot wait for them to get some routine back. I can't wait for us to get some routine back. Yeah, I am beyond excited. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know some people have made the decision to just homeschool. They enjoyed the process so much. I think that you guys are on glue. But for me, I'm joking, by the way. Loads of you, I've seen it. Like, even like one of my cousins, in fact, has said, you know what, we're going to homeschool. We decided we were going to have we were going to take control of, the whole learning process for the kids. I can't get my head around that. What do you guys feel about it? Are you excited about the kids going back to school? Do you feel like you need a bit longer? Do you feel like it's safe yet? Let's have a conversation about it. So, Carrie, I'm looking forward to doing my last course before I open my business. How exciting, exciting, exciting. Good morning from sunny Polton. I think we will look after Polton with this one, Lorraine. There we go. Lorraine from Cuckoo Designs is joining us. Cheeky bit of sunshine in Shropshire. You know I always get this wrong, Emma, so I'm just going to pop it there right in the middle. It is horrible rain here in Scotland, but it won't dim my mood. We've got a little rainy bee for above the wall there. There we go, Scotland. You've got yourselves a little bit of a rainy bee. I work with homeschoolers, just saying. This is very true. If anybody is homeschooling, you want to get in touch with my girl, Diane Ivory from Forensic Minds. She does loads of fabulous science-based lessons. So yeah, you want to hook up with Diane. She's incredible. She was on the show in the first week, and we was all like CSI'd up. We had the masks on. We had the do not cross crime scene signs across the board. It was brilliant. So Joanne Smith is exciting that I finally can communicate exactly what I do. Yes. How exciting. Dani Wallace, you know how hard I've found it to actually describe what I do, and what you do is phenomenal, Joanne. I'm super proud of you. Congratulations. Kelly, I'm excited about scaling up my VA business. I'm now mentoring, which I'm loving. Yes, Kelly. And my new CRM database is ready to go, so I'm getting everything ready. You guys, honestly, it's amazing to be part of this community, to see just how much you guys are bringing yourselves on, how much you are linking arms together, how much you are showing up and rising up together. Honestly, it's a joy. It's the reason why I do what I do. So to see you guys making inroads, to see you guys just ripping it up, it makes me super happy. Touch of cloud and a nice wee breeze this morning. Still hot though. I'm just going to give you a Spanish sunny bee. I'm not even bothered if you've got a touch of cloud, because it's definitely not a bit shit where you are. My little ones have been off school since February, so we're all excited to go back. Carrie, my goodness me. I bet you'd be waving them off, pouring the wine. It's 5 o'clock in the world somewhere at 9:30 in the morning. A few children's schools in Renfrewshire in Scotland have tested positive for the virus. Oh dear. Oh, it's gonna be a funny old road, I've got no doubt. Sunny so far in Beverley, East Yorkshire. There we go, a little bit of sunshine for the Yorkshire area. I've moved Shropshire. Shropshire's an ever-moving entity. So tell me what you guys are excited about for September. Tell me what you're excited about going on into the next quarter. The final quarter of 2020. It has been a strange old year so far. Like I said, we're going to be opening the doors to Be Heard at the end of this month. We're going to be celebrating the book launch at the end of October. We've got Be Inspired in the middle of October. And we finally launch the Fly Anyway Foundation on the 7th of November. Such exciting stuff happening in all in IATQBHQ. It's blooming gorging, Brum. I'm off from mum and daughter spa day. I am gel. I'm going to live vicariously. Please take pictures. Post them in the hive and let us know the glorious time that you're having. Look, I've moved Shropshire again for Birmingham. Sorry, Shropshire. I've got it wrong, Anta. There, Ems. Anyway, enough of this. It is time to get our guest on this morning. I am very, 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 very lucky to know this person. She is an absolute powerhouse in her field and also a lovely friend. So please welcome on to the Show It Wise Up Rise Up show this morning, helping female entrepreneurs all over the place get themselves in the press and raising their profile so that they can show it wise up and rise up to the glorious, the beautiful Caroline Joynson. Good morning.
Good morning, Dani. How are you?
I am good. I'm squeaky.
Oh, you sound lovely this morning. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. The sound that my voice makes, because of all your sinuses and the way that the voice works inside your head, I think it sounds worse in my mind than what it actually does out loud. But I feel like I sound like Marge Simpson.
Oh, well, you've been a busy lady with that book, haven't you? So, you'll need a break soon, I think.
Oh, I can't wait. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and she was like, "You are going to take a holiday in November." I was like, maybe. I feel like I need one, but then I can't take the girls out of school again, so I have to wait until Christmas.
Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? But yeah, just even like if you have a spa day like that lady, just to get a bit of time for you to recover.
A bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. I've tried to justify. So my VIP one-to-ones sometimes take place in Italy or Spain, and I've got one coming up in 2 weeks. And me and one of my clients are going to be in Italy for like 5 days. And my husband's like, "You are having a holiday." I'm like, "There is nothing holiday about what we're going to be doing on that trip." Crackers. So I'm trying to justify going away for another couple of days to just go and breathe. Well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Doing something with the kids, I think, is going to be on the top of the priority list.
Yeah.
Getting through all of this. But Caroline, enough about me. Enough about me. These guys are here for me all the time. Let's have a talk about you. Caroline Joynson, tell us what it is that you do.
Okay, so I am the founder of Cheerleader PR, and I help passionate business owners to get media coverage and PR so that they can build relationships, raise a profile and make more sales. So yeah, just all about empowering people to promote themselves with confidence and clarity, because I think that is what is needed. As much as I can come in as a PR expert and help people and go and promote them, I wanted to be able to empower them to promote themselves. And that's why Cheerleader PR was born, really, because I just felt like as a business owner, you are your number one best cheerleader, but it's daunting to shout about yourself and to be, promote yourself. So that's what I help people to do, to promote themselves. And I find a lot of it is that people don't know what they're trying to say. So they find it hard to say it. And once they work out what that is, and you'll find the same, Dani, once they know what they're trying to say, saying it is actually the easiest part.
Right. But it's extracting it, isn't it? And I remember right at the beginning of my journey, I knew all the things that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to write a book. I knew that I wanted to launch charity. I knew that I wanted to help people. But it was all in here and there was no connective tissue. So why did I want to do any of that? Why did I give a shit so much? Why did I want to help people? And it was having the strength and the confidence and the clarity, like you say, to get that down into some sort of order, to make that make sense, so that I could get it out of my mouth. Because otherwise, I'm just one of them people who goes, "I just want to help people." And people look at me and go, Why are you lost?
Yeah, absolutely. Or people just clam up as well, and they just kind of overwhelms a massive thing, isn't it? And people just get lost in it, really, and end up wanting to say things and they don't know where, when, or what to say, so they just don't say anything, and that's the worst, really. It's such a shame.
Or even feeling like you can't say something because you feel like there were other people more qualified than you, even if you are super qualified in the field to pass comments. So like when you're giving comment on things, or, I've been asked by lots of different publications to sort of pass comment on what I feel like the entrepreneurial space is going to look like and what have you. Now, previously, I might not have felt that would be something that I could pass comment on, because there are far more successful business people out there than me. But having worked, on my own PR for a while now, I'm actually quite well positioned, as are many of you guys out there, right? Caroline, do people often get in their way about this sort of stuff?
Yeah, they do all the time, and I think I'm actually a good example of that. As you find, whatever it is someone's an expert in, they might always put their clients first and not do it themselves. And for 20 years I've worked in PR and I've promoted clients, whether that's working in a PR agency or in-house in an organization, or freelance, which is what I did more recently. I never promoted myself. I always promoted them. I was on LinkedIn and that was it. And it's only since I've launched Cheerleader PR and I've been building a brand, and a name for myself, that it's been like, actually, you need to kind of walk the walk, and talk the talk and actually go and do this. So, I've found my voice and put myself out there a lot more than I ever had before. And PR is about sort of other people endorsing you and saying that you're good by featuring you, just like you are doing here. So thank you very much, because as much as I can go and tell everyone on my own channels, I know what I'm doing, it's actually other people putting me in front of their audiences, whether that's media, whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on a podcast, that means that it shows I know what I'm talking about. As much as I can say that I do, I can show you now. So I think, yes, people do struggle with that, but once they have that clarity, the confidence just flows. And having a plan, I think, is a massive part of it. Having a plan of where to go when, so it doesn't get overwhelming.
Yeah, and having a bank of stories as well, or a bank of things on which you can speak that are all congruent to your theme, I think helps as well. Because I don't always talk about speaking. I don't always talk about business. I don't always talk about surviving domestic violence and homelessness. But I have this bank of congruent stories that actually I can start scouting for opportunities for. So if the homelessness story isn't the right story, the business one might be one, or the speaking one might be one. So having something that all matches and sits with him. But that took assistance to pull that out and get that down, so I can look across my media sheet and go, right, okay, I've got this and this that I can do.
Absolutely.
So how did you come into PR? Well, tell us how did you get here?
Yes, well, it's been a long old career in some ways. So I did business studies at university and thought I wanted to go into HR, and I did a placement as part of my degree that was going to BT and working in HR. And whilst I was there, they made 2,000 managers redundant, and the way that they found out was actually via the news, shockingly. And I remember thinking, I don't want to work.
That happens more than we would like to give the employment industry credit.
Absolutely. And I just thought, I don't want to work in this. I mean, what I was doing wasn't actually sort of, I guess, frontline HR dealing with people. It was kind of more about organisational excellence and awards and stuff like that. But I just thought, I don't want to do this. And I loved writing. I love photography. I love storytelling. I always had done. And I started to think PR would be a good option for me. But when I went back to university and told the careers officer that this is what I wanted to do, that their reaction was, oh, it's very competitive, everyone wants to do that. And I was like, right, I'm going to do it now just to show you,
Tell me I can't. Go on, tell me I
exactly.
Can't.
Exactly. It was kind of like, well, if you say I can't do it, then I'm going to try even harder. And so I got my first break into a small PR agency in Leeds, where I'm based and where I went to university. And I mean, I've stayed in Leeds ever since. And then went after 18 months to the biggest PR agency in Leeds at the time. That was like it was like the best PR agency in the industry that year. So everyone wanted to work there. Right. But yeah, so I started working there, and I worked on like amazing campaigns, like promoting women's football for the England women's football team, promoting their matches, and we launched the national recycling campaigns. We were doing a lot of campaigns and clients who actually made such a difference in the world and changed and challenged perceptions, which I loved. So I was there for about 5 years. Then I was at the National Media Museum in Bradford, which is a national museum, one of the most visited outside London. So I was there for, another 5 years. But when I was pregnant with my second daughter, I was actually made redundant from that role, which was horrible at the time, because with being pregnant as well, it's like, what am I going to do?
What now?
But actually, it was, and it was like, I remember saying to them, oh, well, what am I going to do? And I was like about 6 months pregnant. So it wasn't like I could hide it. Oh, you'll find another job. And I was like, what now? I don't think I will.
Who's going to take me on now?
But anyway, luckily I was able to take my maternity pay and go. And after that, I went freelance. But I mean, I'd lost all my confidence by that point. I did think, can I actually go freelance? But I had nothing to lose because I had no job to go back to. So it was kind of like, well, sink or swim. I'll just try freelancing.
Sometimes you do your best work when your back's against the wall. And again, this is something that comes up again and again and again. We were speaking to Karen Dawkins yesterday. It's a phenomenal story, where right at the start of, not long before the start of lockdown and a couple of years ago, they lost everything in a freak accident during a storm, and it made them run to where they're going now. And I think they'd have probably plodded along whatever they were doing in the field, but it took this massive kind of catastrophe, I guess, to make the decision to start really kind of simplifying, solidifying, and moving forward. I got sacked before I started working for myself, because I absolutely hated working for corporate. By the end of it all, I was done. I was tired of it. I was bored. Didn't want to manage anybody, but I was so safe that I stayed, and I was making myself dreadfully unhappy. And they did me, honestly, that I remember walking out that day feeling 10 ton lighter and shit myself. I was scared. But it took like a similar position where to choose to work for myself was never going to happen. I had to be forced. My hand had to be forced.
But it's like, I think when you're employed, you feel like you've got this safety net and that, you know, you're all right and, you know, you're secure. But actually, you're only secure month by month. You know, if they want to get rid of you, you know, your role goes, it goes. So it's a false security, actually. And I think it keeps a lot of us stuck.
Tell people who used to work at Thomas Cook that. Tell people that used to work, you know, in the retail outlets at Carphone Warehouse that. Or, you know, places where I mean, the next 12 months are going to be hella interesting for that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a worrying time. And I think a lot of people will end up starting their own businesses and trying to find their own route, so they're not reliant on anyone else, because that's what you are when when you're employed.
I firmly believe that, you know, entrepreneurs and people like ourselves, people that work for ourselves, that are forging our way forwards, are going to be the wave of what is going to save the economy. I genuinely believe it. And being able to talk about what you do, just like in my business, being able to talk about what you do is absolutely necessary to get yourself really, really well positioned. And so for any of you out there that are thinking, you know, I'm going to have to come out of work here, or you don't want to. Some people might have been furloughed and gone, oh, do you know what? If I can work from home, then I can work from home. It's not so bad. But being able to talk about what it is that you do is so important to get that audience built, so that people know that you're there, so that people know to buy from you.
Yeah, that's the thing. If no one knows you're there, if you don't tell them you're there, how are they going to find you? You know, so it's a bit like, it is a bit of a sink or swim in a way, that at some point I think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are like, well, I need to go and talk to people, or how are they going to find me? And I think that's a big turning point for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, sorry, go on.
No, go on. What do you think? Tell me also what you think.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that I think just realizing that, you know, you need to be able to reach more people. You need to get in front of more people, and, you know, you can build your own audience, but you need, you know, being able to go out and talk to other people's audience and you know, speak publicly as you coach people. It's going to help you to sort of grow your business a lot quicker. So it's a really important thing to do.
And the work really starts, whoever you are in business, the work starts when your network stops. So you can grow your audience organically to kind of such a degree, but there is going to have to be at some point a level at which you start to go in, you network, but you ask to go and share in different capacities. So PR isn't necessarily just about getting on the telly or getting in magazines, is it?
No, it's about relationships and reputation, which ultimately is that, you know, that's the basis of all business, really. So it's about, you know, consistently building your relationships and, you know, meeting more people and getting out there, as, you know, we said about building your audience, but also, you know, being decent about it, and, you know, and building your reputation as, for one, someone who's good at what they do, but for two, as a decent person, someone you'd want to work with. And I think with PR, you're going to meet more people and build those relationships, but, you know, in a positive way. It's not just like trying to grow relationships just for the sake of it. I think people, you know, can see when someone's genuine, and they know when you actually know what you're talking about. And I think it just really helps to just build positive relationships, and that are give and take. You know, you help each other out. It's not just one way traffic. And I think that's something that's really important in business. And that's where the relationship side comes in. So media is a massive part, because traditionally media's had such huge readerships and watchers and listeners. But I think now with obviously the internet and social media, you've essentially got your own media channels, as you have. You've created your own TV
fake show on telly.
Absolutely. And you never, when I first started in PR, you either paid for advertising or you tried to get into editorial coverage through PR. There was no option of having your own channel. So it's fantastic what's happened, and you can have your own podcast, which is like your own radio show. So, but you can blend in as traditional media as well, because it's still got a massive reach. But then look at things like podcasts and opportunities like this and people's Facebook groups. You've got such an opportunity now. I think that can be overwhelming, but again, through working out who you actually want to reach, then where you go and reach them is a lot easier to plan out, really.
Right. And it's seeking and taking those opportunities as well, isn't it? So it's, if you decide, and you guys out there are watching, you decide that, I need to reach more people now. The work starts where your network ends, and you've got to start seeking out these opportunities. Having someone like yourself to help you get those stories in order, to work out where are the right places to, to go and pitch to. And also, then it's up to you guys to then start to reach out and make those relationships. Like you say, it is a two-way thing. It's public relations. It is your relationships with the public and thinking outside the box a little bit. Also, it's worthwhile understanding how influencing works these days. People would, desire to go on these platforms with, multi-million viewerships or hundreds of thousands of viewerships. And actually, micro influencers now, so people that have followers between 1,000 and 5,000 or 10,000 people, actually have more of an engaged audience. And you wouldn't think that when you first started dipping your toe in into the foray, I guess, or you don't think that actually the smaller podcasts or the smaller platforms are actually quite helpful. Being clever about it, boxing clever about it, and having like a spectrum of different approaches is super, super, super important. I didn't realize how important that was till I started trying to grow my own audience and realizing that I'm teaching people to speak and I'm going speaking in all these groups, but actually having more success with the micro influencers than I have on the big, on the bigger platforms, the national magazines or the TV and what have you. So I find it fascinating, Caroline, absolutely fascinating.
And that's the thing. I think people sit up and notice when you've got logos from major publications, because everyone knows those brands. So it is a massive, rubber stamp of approval. But like you say, it's with the micro influencers, it's about engagement, like you say, and you could have an account with millions of followers, but no one ever comments, or whereas if you have a small number of followers, but they're all engaged and they're all, really into it, and they share things and they comment and they, engage, then that's, as we know with the good old algorithm, but, Facebook and Instagram and everything, everyone loves that. But you're starting to build a community, and like yours is a community, that's where the magic happens, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So for those people that are entrepreneurs, so because we have a mixture of people in the audience, we have a mixture of people. We have, people that work from home. We have people that have their own businesses, bricks and mortar. We have retail businesses. We have all sorts of people who don't work. We have all kinds of people that watch the show. When is the best time to be seeking PR opportunities?
Well, I mean, I honestly believe that the work starts when you sort of plan your business. You must be thinking about, who am I actually trying to sell to? Who are my customers and clients going to be? And ultimately, that's when you can think. So you can start to think, well, where are they? Where do I find them? So I think you can start to, build PR in from scratch, really, because that's almost the hardest part. Sometimes I'll speak to people who've been in business for, a number of years and say, well, who's your audience? Or who you're trying to reach? And I'll say, I can work with anyone. I can work with everyone. And it's that whole thing of, well, if you try and speak to everyone, you kind of speak to no one.
It's because you do. And I get
it.
It's
easily done, don't get me wrong. I
do want to help everybody.
I was kind of, trying to work out my audience for a long time, because it's a bit like I could help anybody, in the sense that the skills I've got are transferable, you
can spin most things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the process is the same, but it's part of it's who do you want to work with as well.
Right.
But if you're building a community, then they've got to have something in common. And like you said, your audience is all, all different. Some work, some don't, some are employed, some are self-employed, but they all have a thread, which is that, they all, resonate with you, and they, they get you
and they
and what you're
resonate with the
trying to do.
movement, and they get
Absolutely.
they get the idea that we need to come together in order for us all to rise up, because if we were left to our own devices, the powers that be out there would probably prefer to keep us where we are. Is kind of the I guess the golden thread between all of us when people first come and join the movement, and they come and decide they want to be a queen bee or a king bee or a royal bee or whatever. And they might just think I'm a bit of a knobhead and I'm a bit funny. I don't know, but
I love the royal bee.
Well, we've got to make sure that we look after everybody on the gender spectrum. We've got to be inclusive. So so what does working with you look like? So I'm a business, and there are lots of businesses out there, and they know they've got to the end of their network now, and they're thinking, right, well, don't seem to be growing anymore, and they're like, oh, I need cheerleader PR, like I need to have a word with our Caroline. What does that process look like? How do you start to unpick the direction for that person to go?
Well, I mean, I always go right back to that first point of who you're trying to reach and what are you trying to actually do. So it's, PR is a sort of a strategic discipline, really, and it works best when it's linked into the business opportunity. So it's looking at, as I say, getting really clear on who you're trying to reach and what you're trying to achieve, because PR, you could spend all day, every day doing PR. It never ends. There's always another opportunity. There's always another place to go and try and build relationships. But ultimately, you want it to add to your bottom line and increase, grow your business or whatever your objectives are. Whether that's to, if it's a campaign and you're trying to change minds and, hearts and minds, then you've got to go back to that. So we'd always start with the strategy ultimately. Which is, I know it can sound like a bit of a, a fancy word, but it's just about, it's a plan, it's a map, So it was looking at that. And then I always also go into, well, what is the story of the business or the individual? And what expertise have they got to share? So, like you said, it's, what are you an expert in? And by that, we mean, some of it can be qualifications and, kind of official things, but it can be, what have you got experience in? Life experience absolutely counts for this. And going into, well, what are their story? What are the highs, the lows? What have they learned? Which is ultimately, what we're looking for. Because people are nosy, they're interested in other people. So we're looking for ways to resonate with them, whether that's similarities or differences to their lives. And then, going into their expertise and seeing what they could offer tips and advice and insights into. Because these things, once you get these things clear, they help with all of your communication. So it helps with your social media, your content, it helps with reaching out. But the other piece, I suppose, which is the PR traditional piece, if you like, is once you've got that information, well, let's match it to what's out there. Let's match it to the opportunities in your network, the opportunities in the media, and looking at, when we say who are you trying to reach, well, we're working out where are they, what media do they consume, where do they hang out online. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's a part of the process that I love, that's that piece of just, it's like a matching game, it's like a puzzle you're trying to put together a match. So that's kind of the bulk really of that first kind of let's get ready. And then it's, but as I say, once they've done that bit, often I think people I work with then feel really confident about the next bit, which is starting to like put the media materials together, like the media buyer, the press releases, and working out a plan of, where to go and when. Because the other thing with PR is, particularly with new stuff, it's timely. It's not just, it's got to pass that why now test. Why is that interesting now?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so that's another piece to work on. And that can be things like, is there an awareness day that's relevant or a calendar event that's relevant? But it also can be seeing what opportunities come up that, you can hook onto.
Yeah, so like being reactive. So like, I mean, COVID's been a perfect time to be passing comments on all sorts of stuff. So whether you're passing comment from a social point of view, whether you think, you should be wearing masks or whether you think the kids should be going back to school, as long as your position and it's congruent for you to be passing comment on that, they're things that you can capitalize on. The fact that a couple of weeks ago, the media started reporting that we were in a recession. Actually, what does that mean? Is that really scary? Because I mean, I've lost a house in a recession and I've made £50,000 in a recession. So, like, what the difference has been here? So, is that something that I can pass comment on, or you guys were thinking about what's going on, like Good Morning Britain, or seeing what's happening in the newspapers, or seeing what's happening, in your online feed, and thinking, is there something that you can say about that? And then I guess it's knowing somebody like you who has the contacts, because the other part of PR is being connected, isn't it? The reason why you would have a PR agent or somebody who assists you with that is because you are, a number of years served in the industry. So you will have a black book of people who you have developed relationships with. So it's good, isn't it, that there are people like you out there. Yes, you can teach people how to do it themselves, but also it's great working with people like you, Caroline, who have been connected, who know, like, what are the little gates in, how do you peep your head around the door, how do you stand out? It's not just about having all these stories ready, then it's about how do you jump out amongst the noise of everybody clamoring over in themselves to have a say in something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's knowing how sort of news gathering works, how they put together Good Morning Britain, and how they, put together the newspaper, because obviously there is the news content, and there is, that's all new and it's happening now, that's what makes news. And it's very, reactive, and it can be very sort of, strong emotions, in news. But, there's a planning team in TV that works on other stories, that can be short. It could be something for tomorrow, but it could be something for further in advance. So it's knowing those, as you say, knowing that those that how they work. But I think the other thing is, a massive part of it is knowing how to pitch, and how to get your idea to cut through, other people's, because journalists' inboxes are literally just, emails coming in all the time. And I think that's the other side. As much as, yes, contacts is huge, I would say, if you've not got a great story, it doesn't matter what contacts you've got. You've got to have the good story. And that's why, when people sort of say about spin and all this sort of thing, it's like, well, you can try and spin something, but if it's not a good story, it's not going to fly. Shit. Absolutely. You can't you sort of bypass that. It's not going to pass the why now test ultimately. So it's kind of, it's the two things. It's getting, a really good story ready to go, and being ready to go with it, but also, being confident to reach out and pitch to the right person at the right time, it's crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Caroline, what's been one of your favorite campaigns to work on?
Well, I think I've probably mentioned a couple of them already, but I mean, promoting the England women's football team matches was a highlight for me. And we also did a campaign to get more girls into football. And this is before, like, things have changed so much in women's football now, and I can see the difference from what we did, what it was like talking about women's football, like in sort of, I mean, we promoted the women's Euros, which were in the Northwest in 2005. And since then, I mean, obviously that's 15 years ago, but
the Lionesses really have started to become, absolutely. It's now on the TV. I remember when Wallace and I first got together, and Wallace was an avid, and I say was because the business of football is something that he's had dismay with for a long time, but I remember him laughing at me, because I'm always pro the girls. I'm always, as a feminist, it's something that I lead with the front with. And I would say, you never watch women's football. And he went, yeah, of course I don't watch women's football. It's not enjoyable to watch. And I'm like, mate, you just don't watch it. And there weren't that many opportunities to watch women's football. And then when when the Lionesses started to roar, my God, they were outdoing, in terms of success, what the guys were doing. And now they are more mainstream. Even this week, this Saturday, the girls were on the telly playing football, and it's just a testament to a lot of the foundational work. PR sometimes isn't an overnight thing, is it? PR is consistently showing up, consistently raising your profile to such a point where you become either a household name or the thought of person or the expert in your field, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing. I mean, it's described as a marathon, not a sprint, because
Right.
you have to put time and effort in, and you have to
Yeah.
keep going, being consistent. And you take some no's, and then you have some amazing yeses, and it's you've just got to keep plugging away at it. But you're seeing like Alex Scott and Rachel Brown, who played in Women's Euro when I worked on it. They are pundits now, sat alongside the men on Match of the Day, which would, if I'd said to my husband then, oh well, they'll be on Match of the Day, he wouldn't
Match
have
of the Day is
believed
going to have a
me.
lineup that's going to include women or
Yeah,
female,
absolutely.
representing females.
And
Yes.
that's when they've just, as the FA and the women obviously that play have just kept going. They didn't just go, oh well, no one's watching, we're not
Yeah.
on TV, we'll give up. They just kept going and they did their own thing, and it's accepted now so much more. I mean, the comments I used to get when I said I promoted women's football from men were shocking, but I just
Yeah.
don't think I'd get them now, because I think because people have seen how good they are,
Yeah.
they can't argue with that. Like, they maybe could have
No.
before because they hadn't seen it. They've seen it now. But women's football was banned, so they had a long road to come back from.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And that wasn't so long ago. It's not in the distant
No.
past. And to have been part of that journey to where they are now, you must feel really proud about that, and your part that you played in that sort of trajectory that they've enjoyed.
Yeah, it's just amazing, just I think as well, because I was seeing the matches, and I could you get really interested in the characters and all, the
Yeah.
dynamics and stuff. So I think that's the thing. Once now people can learn about that, because they can watch the matches and they can start to know the names of people, then it doesn't matter if it's women or men playing, because it's just
Right.
an entertaining sport, so yeah, it was definitely been one of my career highlights.
Amazing. And what are you looking forward to then? So hang on a minute. I just pressed this. I've just pressed the space bar accidentally. I just kicked you out the
I went
stream
and came
just so I
back
was
again.
talking to you. I didn't know the space bar did that. It's been a long night. So what things are you looking forward to now? It's different, isn't it, when you're working, within a big PR agency, and you're working on projects that are, larger. How do you choose who to work with, or what kind of things are you looking forward to in terms of the projects that you've got coming up?
Well, I've just recently just done sort of a push, if you like, on sort of strategy sessions I offer, and I've got like 10 amazing business owners who are all wanting to get that plan in place, and which
Right.
is, like I was saying to about how do you know where you're going if you don't have a map,
Right.
and all at sort of different phases of their business, but all again just wanting that clarity. And then it's amazing just seeing the difference that it makes from going from that sort of uncertainty and just trying to work out what they want to be known for, to being having that clear and going, oh, I want to do it now. I love seeing that sort of transformation, really.
Yeah.
And then also I'm looking forward to I'm working on like a group program to work with sort of a
Amazing.
small group of business owners who want to just take control of their PR, and just,
Right.
as I say, work through that plan, and get clear on the strategy aspects of who they want to reach and what stories they've got to tell and where they can tell them, and just taking them through that process. Because wherever I've worked, whether that's in an agency, in-house in an organization, or freelance, that's the process I've always applied to doing PR. So
Right.
I'm going to take people through it to help them to do it in that way. Because the thing is, I can go in and cheer for them and promote them, but then I would then finish working with them, and that's it. They're looking for someone else to help them. Whereas I'm going to empower them to keep doing that work, and sort of be in for the long haul of the marathon, and see that difference over time. So I'm really excited about that.
Amazing. It sounds absolutely wonderful. So every week I ask my whole audience, at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week, what are the things that they're doing this week that by the end of the week you will have feel like, yes, I smashed this week. I did the thing that I wanted to do. So as everybody knows, mine's the book. If I get this book submitted, be it the
That's a
death of
big
me,
one.
I will have definitely done the thing this week. What this week are you working on that if you get to Friday and you've smashed it, you'll have gone, yes, I nailed this week, Caroline?
Oh gosh. Well, it'll be mapping out the group program
I
and
love it.
the plan of actually, promoting it and launching it.
Getting that launched.
That's for this week. Yeah, that's a biggie.
Amazing. Fantastic. Well, could you do me a favor, my angel, and just in the comments, how do we hang out with you? How do we find out more about you? So it's Cheerleader PR.
Yes, Cheerleader PR. I've got a Facebook group which is PR for Passionate Go-Getters.
Oh, yeah.
That's who I work with.
Lots of you out there, those passionate go-getters.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's probably the best place to find me. I'm on Instagram as cheerleader_PR as well. But yeah, I think for the purposes of this Facebook Live, then yeah, Facebook's the place. And that's where I'm building a community of entrepreneurs who want to take control of their PR ultimately.
Fantastic. Well, Caroline, it's been an absolute joy to have you on the show this morning. Thank you for sharing your expertise and thank you for sharing your stories. And you guys watching at home, if you are needing support, then definitely hit my girl up, Caroline Joynson. It's Cheerleader PR. She's wonderful. You are wonderful and glorious and fabulous. Thank you for getting up early with me this morning. It's been
thanks
lovely.
for having me. Thank you
you're
so much,
so
Dani.
welcome. You are so welcome. That is Caroline Joynson, everybody. And there we endeth our show. So we're ending a little bit early this morning. The reason why is that I've got what's booked in. I've got to make sure that I am prepped and on time, ready to go and rip up the day, get this book finished. I'll keep you guys updated. If you do see me this afternoon dicking around on Facebook, please pat me on the bum and send me back offline and back to writing. I will submit this today if it's the last thing I do. You guys are amazing. Just remember, if anybody wants to get hold of the free Show Up Rise Up Masterclass that I've made for you, put Masterclass in the comments. And of course, we carry on the conversation here in the IATQB Hive. So if you have got any questions about PR, or if you've got any questions about what it is that I'm getting up to, or you want to share your challenges or successes, that is the place to do it. And we can signpost you to all of the necessary experts as and when you need. All right, you guys, have an incredible day. Make sure you are following me on the Instagram at the Queen Bee Dani for stories and updates over there too. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow, bright and breezy, with the glorious Amanda Hutchinson coming on to talk about all things branding photography and why she is one of the UK's most sought after branding photographers. That's tomorrow, 8 o'clock, the Show Rise Up Show. I'll see you then. Take care, you guys. I love you.